Like in life, you have to focus on the good things that are happening in your life. And by good things, UFC 308, we found two of the best upcoming contenders for the respective division. And I'm talking about Khamzat Chimaev, who's going to become the next middleweight champion. And here you have heard it first, or maybe everybody's predicting that. But this is my prediction. He's going to become a middleweight champion for sure. That's what I am really sure of right. And also Ilia Topuria, who might become a two division weight champion, where he knocks out Islam Makhachev or Arman Sarukian, depending on which champion it would be. But it is also possible that Khamzat Chimaev and Ilia Topuria both are two division weight champions, where Khamzat Chimaev also defeats someone like Alex Pereira or someone, because Alex Pereira has this weakness in wrestling. If Magomed Ankalaev becomes champion, then probably no, because I don't think Khamzat Chimaev is strong enough to win against someone like Ankalaev, but who knows even then. But Khamzat Chimaev, in my opinion, is going to become a double champion. I think if not now in this current era, he's going to become a two division weight champion, because he has the skills and he has the technique and he has everything that is required to become a double champion, becoming a champion at the middleweight division. Although we think that the physicality is a factor in this, I don't think so. I think Khamzat Chimaev is strong enough to win in the UFC light heavyweight division too. And I think he will win against Dricus du Plessis, and I think he will win against someone who is a champion in the UFC 205 pound weight division. Maybe it's Magomed Ankalaev or maybe it's Alex Pereira. I think he can win that. And let me tell you one more thing. Many people think that this is just a recency bias that I'm talking about, because I have just seen them winning against Max Holloway and Robert Whittaker. I don't think it's a recency bias. I think this win just solidifies how much dominant these performances were, because Robert Whittaker and Max Holloway are just like the perennial contenders in their division. They are champion for such a long time, and they have been in the championship contention for such a long time, so that if anyone defeats any one of them, they are immediate title contenders. They are immediate. I mean, look at how Adesanya became champion, winning against Robert Whittaker. Look how, I mean, Sean Strickland became champion when he won against Israel Adesanya. Look how Dricus du Plessis became champion. He won against Robert Whittaker, and if anyone wins against Robert Whittaker, he automatically becomes champion. That's what I think so. And I think that's why Khamzat Chimaev is going to become a champion. And also, people say that it's kind of a fluke victory. I don't think so, man. Like, literally, he broke his jaw. Many people say that it's a physical weakness of Robert Whittaker's jaw. I don't think so. I think it was a forced injury. So that's why I think Khamzat Chimaev can win against Dricus du Plessis. Now I'm going to talk about two of the fighters that can be a roadblock in this two division weight champion thing that Ilia Topuria or Khamzat Chimaev can do. For Ilia Topuria, the most dangerous fighter is that nobody's taking his name, but let me take his name: Movsar Evloev. If you don't know him, Google his name. He is also an undefeated fighter, but he has never won a fight in the UFC by a stoppage. He has 8 victories in the UFC, 8 or 7, and all of them are just like decision victories. He won against Diego Lopez too. So I mean, like, he's above Diego Lopez in terms of comparison of, like, being a contender in this division. But Diego Lopez is above him because Diego Lopez has crazy fighting style, and he literally won against Brian Ortega, who's top 5 for no reason. I don't know why he's top 5. I don't think Brian Ortega is top 5 in the UFC featherweight division. He's just top 5 for no reason. But I think Movsar Evloev is the toughest fight for Ilia Topuria. I'm not saying this because Movsar Evloev is someone who is good at wrestling, and it's just like how the way that he does wrestling. I think that is a huge problem for Ilia Topuria, because Movsar Evloev's elder brother is a Greco-Roman world gold medalist in the Olympics. He's he is someone who has a great Greco-Roman wrestling base. And I see Ilia Topuria using lots and lots of techniques of Greco-Roman wrestling whenever he wrestles, because people don't know, because Ilia Topuria has been knocking out opponents these recent fights, and everybody thinks like Ilia Topuria is someone who is knocking everyone out in every of its fights. It's not the case. Ilia Topuria is a great wrestler. He's a great jiu-jitsu artist, and I think nobody saw this, but you will see this when Ilia Topuria fights against Movsar Evloev. And but here's a problem: like Movsar Evloev is great at like Greco-Roman wrestling, and his chain wrestling is great, and he can just make Ilia Topuria tired, and he can do this thing where Ilia Topuria will be tired after 2 or 3 rounds, and then fourth or fifth round, Movsar Evloev can do his thing. We have seen Movsar Evloev have crazy grappling techniques and everything, but who knows? Like Ilia Topuria is someone who can, but Ilia Topuria has that one thing that he can get ragdolled for 2 rounds, and then he will just one punch, that right hook or left hook that he throws, it just completely like wins the fight for him. I think this is what makes Ilia Topuria very dangerous. But that would be a very fun fight to have, and I think he's above Diego Lopez in terms of having this chance of becoming UFC featherweight champion and having a fight against Ilia Topuria. And the second fight is of course Diego Lopez, and I'm not keeping Alexander Volkanovski. Let's just be clear. I'm not saying Alexander Volkanovski is not a threat for Ilia Topuria, but I'm saying that Alexander Volkanovski is not someone that you can take the name of and just say that he is a threat when he was just knocked out by Ilia Topuria. No, I mean, like, if that fight was somewhat more competitive, yes, that fight was competitive for a round, but no, Alex Volkanovski isn't the man that is like most likely to beat Ilia Topuria. I think he's going to get knocked out again. Maybe he wins, maybe somehow by. I mean, he has to be lucky for 5 rounds. I mean, not lucky, but he has to dominate for 5 rounds. He has to be someone who is evading the punches for 5 rounds. And that's very tough thing to do against Ilia Topuria. That's what we saw against Max Holloway, and that's what we saw in even the fight against Alex Volkanovski. Alex Volkanovski was fighting very well. So it's just one punch that Ilia Topuria throws and everything is over. So I'm telling you, that's not a dangerous fight for Ilia Topuria, but the most dangerous is of course Movsar Evloev, as I said, but the second most dangerous would be Diego Lopez, because Diego Lopez is someone. I mean, we have seen that Ilia Topuria is quite hittable in the first 2 rounds, although he has good technique where he can just hide his face and just he just wear punches very well. It doesn't feel like he takes lots of damage. I mean, I don't know, it's just like his facial construction or something like that. He just wears damage very well. But for someone like Diego Lopez, he can knock him out. I mean, Diego Lopez is very, very good. Diego Lopez is very dangerous in the start of the fight, and he's so violent, and he's so like he's just present in your face, and that's what makes Diego Lopez dangerous, and that's what makes Diego Lopez dangerous against Ilia Topuria. Whether he does that thing against Ilia Topuria, because we know that has a likelihood of Lopez getting knocked out cold, but Diego Lopez is the man, so he can do this thing. And for Khamzat Chimaev, the toughest opponent isn't Alex Pereira. Let me tell you this. I mean, people think that Alex Pereira is very dangerous for Khamzat Chimaev. No, Khamzat Chimaev has a very, very good wrestling, and people don't know, if you don't know wrestling, that Alex Pereira doesn't even have decent wrestling. I mean, people know that about Alex Pereira, but Alex Pereira is someone who is like dominant kickboxer, and it's just like his kryptonite. Khamzat Chimaev versus Alex Pereira wouldn't be very good to watch. It would be a 1-round finish. That's what I said. I mean, people will just say that you are talking this about Alex Pereira. Yes, it's true. Khamzat Chimaev will knock out Alex Pereira. I mean, no, not will choke out Alex Pereira in 1 round. That's what I'm predicting. The toughest fight for Khamzat Chimaev would be Dricus du Plessis. And let me tell you this. Even though Dricus du Plessis doesn't have that great of a wrestling, The threat that Dricus du Plessis have for Khamzat Chimaev is that Dricus du Plessis is insanely strong for that weight division. And if someone is that strong, like Dricus du Plessis, we saw how strong he is. Like when he flipped Robert Whittaker over by using just his power, not his technique, in the first round against Dricus du Plessis, the match of Dricus du Plessis against Robert Whittaker. I think Dricus du Plessis is a very dangerous matchup for Khamzat Chimaev, because Dricus du Plessis is someone who can use his physicality in wrestling, and in wrestling, even though physicality isn't a thing in modern day mixed martial artists, because it's just everyone is so elite and physicality doesn't play a factor because everybody has that. I mean, the quote that Daniel Cormier said to Brock Lesnar, "You're strong, but everybody is strong here." But the thing about Dricus du Plessis, the thing about wrestling, to be honest, is that if you're physically strong, if you're physically more powerful than your opponent, then it factors in wrestling. I think that's the reason why Khabib won so many of his fights, because he was physically stronger than any of his opponents. So I think that plays a factor. But Dricus du Plessis isn't fast. That's why I'm saying that Khamzat Chimaev can win. But it's a huge gamble to say that, because Dricus du Plessis is very physically strong. So that's it. These are my opinions on these fights. And as I said, I predict both of them, Khamzat Chimaev and also Ilia Topuria, to become two-weight division champion. Ilia Topuria has a very tough time. I mean, Ilia Topuria can have a tough time becoming two-weight division champion, but not so for Khamzat Chimaev. That's what I think. And that's what we do in this channel. We talk about martial arts, we talk about football, we talk about things that get me excited in a good way, not in a that way. So that's it for the video. I have a link for my Patreon on my YouTube. I just do this for fun. Like I said, I'm a doctor in real life. I don't need to do this, but I do this for fun because I like martial arts. I like these things as a kid. And I remember I was just like a smaller, like I remember when I was just like a kid thinking about, like, one day I will talk about this in front of people who watch martial arts. And I just grown up and have no friends who watch martial arts in real life. In my real life, I don't have any friends who watch martial arts. So that's why I made a YouTube channel, and I just talked to the people in the world who watch martial arts. And if you want to watch such content, if you want to talk to someone who is loner and watching martial arts across the world, just click subscribe and give it a follow. What should I say? Share it. And that's it for the video. Thanks if you have enjoyed it. Peace.